Welcome, everybody. I know we still have some folks trickling in from the waiting room. If you are joining as a participant, if you could please do us a favor really quick, just make sure that you are muted for the informational portion of our presentation. That'll obviously make sure that we minimize disruptions during the informational presentations that you're about to see. No worries though. If you have any questions for our presenters throughout the event, you can either throw them into the chat or better yet, feel free to reserve them to the breakout rooms portion of the event that we will be holding. During that time, you'll be able to join rooms that have been created for each state agency that we have on the line. You'll be able to talk with the representatives that we have on the line, ask any questions that you have, so on and so forth. But if you could please, in the meantime, just make sure you're muted. That would be definitely helpful. So thank you for that. A few other things that we want to note here as well. We are recording the session. So just keep in mind, if there's anything that you need to go back to and refer to at a later date, as far as the information is concerned that's covered here today, you will have access to that recording. We'll send it out within about 48 hours or so of the conclusion of this event here today. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kick things off here. First up, we're going to have a presentation from our partners at IDES. It's going to be a short presentation over veteran services that are available to you. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Charlie to the stage, if you will, to present. Charlie?
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Charlie. I'm from the Illinois Department of Employment Security, and to all my other IDES colleagues, good morning, and to everybody else, good morning. And like Daniel said, I'll have a fairly short briefing on veteran career services and what we do at IDES and how we can impact the veteran population. So next slide. Okay, so there's a little information on me. My name is Charlie Holstein. I'm a disabled veterans outreach program specialist for the Illinois Department of Employment Security. Veteran myself, the U.S. Army. I was enlisted for 2 or 3 years and got out, back to college, and then went back in as an officer for 22 years, and then retired. One of the greatest satisfactions I get, and one of the reasons I'm with IDES and in this position, is that I get to positively impact veterans on a daily basis. And not only is that rewarding, but that's a population that sometimes, in my view, don't necessarily get the attention or the assistance that they need. So I'm happy to be able to do that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we're going to talk, here's the agenda. We're just going to go over who we are and what we do. A little bit about the support that we provide to veterans, why we do it and how. And give some resources so that veterans can get connected for that support. Next slide. Okay, well, who we are. We're the Illinois Department of Employment Security. Not only do we, and I'll go over some more of these in the next slide or two, but not only do we assist with unemployment, but we also assist with employment services to help individuals find and keep employment, as well as we help employers find and match with those quality workers, not only veterans, but just employees in general. Next slide. And so what we do, we promote economic growth and stability across. And how do we do? Well, we provide, we are the source for unemployment insurance benefits. We administer that program. And for those individuals who, have lost their jobs or they're unemployed at their own, coming into or using the online tool to file for unemployment, That is a service that IDS provides. And hand in hand with that are the employment services that we provide, either from the employment services staff that's available to assist the population with work preparation, work search, to the DBOP and leaver, which I'll talk about a little bit more in detail shortly, because they apply directly towards veteran population. And then with legal services, we connect with employers directly across the state. We meet with them, we find out what their work needs are, so we can take those needs, current and accurate needs, back to the population that's looking for work. Oftentimes, we're able to marry them up, direct meet not only the employer's need, but the employees as well. And then also we provide employment and wage data. We gather that, we collect it, we analyze it, we use it both in the state as well as some of that data goes to the feds and the Department of Labor to be used to make sound public policy decisions. Okay. Next slide. So why do we support our Illinois veterans? Well, Illinois veterans make up about 4.8% of the population of the country, and I'll get to that number more later. But oftentimes, veterans fall into high-risk categories. Either they don't have an employment history because maybe they went to the military directly out of high school. Maybe they have injuries or medical issues associated with their time in the military, and a myriad of other issues that sometimes either leave a veteran homeless or maybe not direct path to success. And so we have systems in place, people in place, who help these veterans directly, help them get out of that struggle, help them get back to a regular life. If they're homeless, we put them in contact with resources that can help them in that respect as well, so they can come back and get back into being that productive citizen that they were while they were in the military. Okay. All right, so next slide. All right. So there's a little bit of information on veterans. There's about 608,000 veterans as of 2020. I think that number's come down just a little bit because we are losing veteran population somewhat. We'll talk about that, briefly. But as you can see from the slide there, our population is about as big as the entire city of Albany in New York. With a population in Illinois of 12.7 million, and with a vet population about a 4.8% of our Illinois population are veterans. And we do see some of the numbers of veterans in the state starting to fall. A myriad of reasons, but we'll cover a little bit more here in just a minute. Okay, next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. Yes, as I mentioned, the number of Illinois veterans is decreasing, and we're projecting a drop in the overall population all the way out to 2045. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of reasons for that. People moving, an older population of veterans, will be dying off during that time. But right now we can see some of the numbers on. But as far as the work uh, career fields of our veterans coming off back duty, at least in Illinois, we have about 42% of our veterans that are working either in management or professional or related occupation. Oftentimes that goes back to maybe educations that they were able to get while on active duty, or the leadership positions and experiences that they had with the military, and they're able to come out directly into those positions. The second most selected occupation for veterans is in the production, transportation, and material moving careers. And those are some military specialties that oftentimes transfer very directly. You were driving heavy equipment in the military. There's a lot of equipment in the military. And you have those CDL license and certificates, which oftentimes you can uh, jumpstart that right into civilian. So we have about 38% of our veteran population are employed in that area. And then the other significant category, 13% of the vets are either natural resources, construction, or some kind of maintenance field. And again, a lot of those correlate directly to specialties, experiences that veterans had who were on active duty. Okay, next slide. So how do we support our veterans? Well, I talked a little bit about the employment services. I'll go a little more detail on employment services, the resources and memberships have. You know, the veteran support population in Illinois, although it's a relatively small population, we are very dedicated to helping veterans. We're engaged with them every day, and we're hopefully providing a critical role in helping the veterans to find employment or or other supportive services that they may need to improve their lives. The Illinois Department of Employment Security and our Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act partners support our veterans as well. And then our American Job Centers, our workNet centers, they're located throughout Illinois, are there to provide employment assistance as well as potential training resources to veterans as well. Next slide. So this is kind of what I do specifically as part of the program to support veterans. I'm a member of the Jobs for Veterans State Grant Program. Throughout Illinois, we have primarily 2 staff members that are dedicated to providing direct support to our veterans population. The Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialist, also known as a career coach, veteran career coach. That's what I do. I work with approximately 30% of the veteran population. Population that I work with has to have a significant barrier to employment. The other veterans are assisted by our human services staff. And then the local veterans employment representative, the leaders, the veterans business specialists that you see there, that's the other member of the 2-person team. We work together to help to get that job ready. And the leader is out in the communities working with employers, advocating on behalf of hiring veterans, as well as doing job fair things in the communities. And so when I have a veteran that's job ready, I will work with the leader to hopefully put that veteran in front of companies and hiring officials that he or she has worked to set up. Okay, next slide. Okay, so what we do, this is kind of broken down a little bit on what I just spoke about. The Veterans Business Specialists, they're responsible for advocating all that. As I mentioned, I only kind of advocate for a smaller population, have significant areas of employment, but the business specialist is out there advocating for the hiring of all. Okay, they develop job opportunities and they coordinate events, like I mentioned, job fairs, things like that. They help to train the agency staff and partners on services for the veterans and that the veterans can do a job. And then they also discuss job opportunities that they come across while they're out there, in the communities. They'll discuss those with the agent staff. And that's really our connection to the DVOP leader, our discussions on a regular basis, the different job opportunities that the career coach, that's me. I'm going to provide individual career services based on a veteran qualifying for those services. I'm going to help with that veteran ready job placement and assist with his or her resume. I'm going to provide mock interview assistance if needed. We're going to get that veteran job ready. We're going to build a general employment plan, and so the jobs that I'm looking for are based on the guidance that I receive directly from the veteran. We do some community outreach. I do outreach primarily at businesses, community centers, etc., that are veterans centric. It's those places that veterans tend to go. Maybe they're veterans clubs, or just places in the community that we have learned over time. Veterans go to VA hospitals, community-based outreach clinics from the VA, etc. And I work with veterans on job opportunities, either by providing job roles directly to the veterans that are enrolled in the case management program, or those job opportunities that I've worked with the leaver, the business specialist, that he or she are aware. And then on employment services, this is the ES, the Employment Services Rep, direct one-on-one care for the veteran. They can make partner referrals. They can fill out the veteran information form, triage form. They can help them to training, and then they can help them complete or provide information on employment purposes. Okay, next slide. Okay, so veterans to be eligible for the JBSD service, there are certain things that they have to have at least answered yes to one. Okay, so they've had a completed active duty for more than 880 days, and they could not have received a dishonorable discharge. If they were released or discharged from active duty with a service-connected disability, or if they were discharged or released because of a sole survivorship, for example, that were married and the spouse passed away, they got children at home, they may be released from active duty to take care of the child. If they were on active duty during a period of war or campaign, which the campaign badge is authorized, and if they're a member of the reserve component on an order to active duty. If they answered yes to any of those, any one of those at least, they can be eligible for services. Okay, next slide. So getting veterans to work, there's a couple of programs out there that is, a hand up. assistance for the veteran. But there's some differences there as well. Priority service, those are all programs that are funded by the Department of Labor. Okay. And you see there, employment, training, placement services. They provide priority service to veterans and spouses of veterans, certain veterans. Okay. Veterans preference is a little different. Veterans preference is actually preference you get normally on a point system when you apply either federal or state jobs. And of course, each state, it's a little bit different. I know Illinois, you get a certain number of points for one class of veteran, you get a few different amount of points for another class of veteran. And so those are veteran preferences. Okay. Next slide. Okay, resources. Veteran services, and that's kind of what we've been talking about. These are services that are made available to veterans to make it easier for employers to reach and employ members of the military community. Okay. Example, that relationship, that work relationship between the DVOP and the leaver. The leaver's out there talking to businesses, meeting with hiring managers, advocating on behalf of veterans. I'm here getting these veterans job ready. And so at one point, we marry those two up. We get that veteran's resume application boom in front of the hiring manager. And that's a real step up because you can imagine when people, 50 or 100 people are applying for a job and you just got this huge stack of applications and resumes on your desk, to be able to pull out a resume and an application and put it in front of hiring manager and advocate for hiring that individual, that's a significant service to that person. Reentry program, employment services is completely different, really. I mean, this is a service that we, through the Department of Labor, provide to help veterans who've had a justice-involved background to connect with employers. Okay, this is something that the DVOP does on a regular basis. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not, because sometimes a veteran may have a specific issue in his background that he was incarcerated for that an employer won't hire somebody with that background. And that's the relationship that the DVOP and the leaver are able to work with employers. So we're not going to have a veteran come out of his justice involved situation, and we're not going to send him or her for an interview with a company that we know has already told us they're not going to somebody with background. And so it's official for the veteran as well. And there's a lot more to it than that, helping the veteran, because as you can imagine, some of these individuals may have been out of the workforce for decades or more. Things have definitely changed. And so there's a lot of prep work needed to help get these veterans back into the workforce. Disability employments, that's the Illinois Department of Human Services and the Division of Rehab Services. They can work in, partnership with people with disabilities and their families to assist them in making informed decisions about, employment or education or even independent living opportunities. And then apprentices, that's a workforce strategy. Sometimes we have those, they normally fill up pretty quick. but it's to help individuals connect with an individual career path. You know, maybe it's an area that you haven't worked in before, but you're interested in it, and an apprenticeship will help provide you some work experience to determine if that's something you want to go further with, or if you want to move on to something else. Or it gives an employer an opportunity to see your work experiences to determine if they may want to hire you full time in that position. Okay, excellent. Okay, so connecting you with support. Now, the slides I've kind of covered, just a quick overview, some of the things that we do. But over the next slide or two, you know, be a link or two, or an email address, or something of that. Those are the takeaways I suggest, so that if you have any questions, you can either go to a website, look at it, or you can send something, an email. Okay. So next slide. Okay, so Illinois Career Information System, which is called SIS. What it does, it's a partnership with the U.S. Department of Labor's Bureau of Labor Statistics and their Employment and Training Administration. Well, what does that mean to you? Well, what it is, it's kind of a database that helps you, a job finding seeker, find information on different types of educations, different types of patients and the educations that they may need. There's links there for financial aid information as well. Once you have that portfolio, that username, etc., in the system, you know, you can use that to help create resumes. And then also you can build like career paths to look at to say, okay, this would be the entry level, and this would be mid level, to senior level, and get information on each one of those, kind of help you, you know, along the way as you're kind of either deciding if you want to go into a specific career field, or maybe you're already in it, you want to see what, you know, the new levels of jobs would be, and experience and education requirements of those might be. So it's a good resource. And then there's a link right there that'll take you to the Illinois page. Okay, more slides there, please. Next slide. So additional support and services that are available to you. The VRE, the Veterans Readiness and Employment Program, service-related disability. Okay, you have a service-related disability. There's 5 different tracks that they have after doing an assessment to help you get back onto a work track. And if that includes education or training, they would assist you, you know, with that as well. Now, I get those at the DBOP. We get those Chapter 31 referrals for employment once the veteran has finished out the other aspects of that VRE. Like I said, maybe it's education, maybe it's training, but when they're ready to go to work, I will get a Chapter 31 referral to assist that veteran to get employed. Okay, that's a very hands-on program between the veteran and the career coach. HRAP, that's the DOL Vets funded program that provides supportive services, you know, to help homeless veterans or veterans that are close to being homeless. It helps with the justice involved veterans that are coming back out into force. And so that's a good resource, you know, well. The National Guard program there, which is the Yellow Ribbon Reintegration Program, help National Guard and Reserve members. And then the employer support and guard regime about USERA and conflicts. Okay. Next slide. All right. So one thing that we do in the league, like I said, this is a believer who's working with and the employment folks that are working with employers to educate employers that they may be eligible to receive a federal tax credit for hiring veterans and other target populations. And it's called the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. And it's just another tool that's out there to help get veterans in front of potential employers. And then, like I tell my veterans, we'll do all we can to get you in front of the veterans, but then you got to sell yourself. You have to convince that person. Okay. All right. Next slide. So this is the kind of takeaways I was talking about. The email address. If you have any kind of questions at all, you reach out to the email address. Then they'll direct it to the appropriate person, your area, or whatever your questions are. And then the links, the IDESIllinois.gov will give you most of the information for detail that you can sit there and read through it. How long should, if I email, how long should I don't know. The question was if an email is sent to the get in touch address there, how long will it take to get a response? I don't know that offhand. I think it's around 24. I think within a 24-hour period they respond. Okay. And then Illinois Job Link, if you've had any kind of involvement with unemployment, you've probably already been to Illinois Job Link. If you are going to get services from me, you're going to have an Illinois Job Link so you can upload a resume for me. And so IllinoisJobLink.com is a good resource for you as well. Okay, and next slide. All right, so yeah, it doesn't end when you take off the uniform. You live in Illinois, which is a very, very good state for taking care of veterans. If you go out there and do a state-by-state comparison, you see that. There's resources here on the employment side that I've covered that are here to assist you to get back into the workforce. There's resources there to assist you either through training or education if you need that as well. And so if I can just leave you with two things, it's that we all appreciate the service, the commitment of our veterans. All of us have been there, know what it takes, and oftentimes the sacrifices that are made. And so we are here to provide you as much assistance as we can in your transition back into civilian life and the workforce. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for that presentation, Charlie. And to make sure that we kind of keep on track here, we were going to have a brief presentation from Illinois workNet, but I think we're going to go ahead and forego that and go directly into our CMS presentation with Pam Watson. The takeaway from this presentation that'll be coming up here for you folks on the line is it's going to outline the state's hiring process. It's going to kind of give you an insight as to what you should expect every step of the way to inform you of, again, what to expect during the hiring process, but also allow you to formulate some questions for the employers that we have on the line that you'll be able to meet with here after that presentation takes place. So just make sure you're paying attention. If you have a notepad, make sure you're jotting down notes. get any questions down on there that you'd like. And then once we open up those breakout rooms, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions directly, again, to the agency reps that we have on the line here today. Moving on, Pam, are you ready to present?
Yes, I'm ready to present.
Excellent. Feel free to take it away. Thank you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Hi, Pam. I'm actually the one screen sharing right now, so you should see your presentation up on screen. You'll just want to let us know if you want to advance to the next slide.
Okay, then. The step in the hiring process. This is navigating the state's hiring process and benefits with central management services. I'm going to explain the hiring process when you are applying for state employment through our Success Factors online hiring process. The next slide. There are career opportunities with the state of Illinois. We have a variety of career paths available with Illinois state agencies. We have over 60 state agencies, boards, and commissions. Whenever you're applying for state employment, our positions range from entry level to specialized and senior level management. As you see in the presentation, we have a few of our agencies listed. In reference to the social service agencies, we have Illinois Department of Employment Security, Illinois Department of Human Services, and Department of Human Rights. In reference to healthcare, we have Illinois Department of Public Health. Also, we offer information technology. That's our state agency, Illinois Department of Innovation Technology. This is just to name a few of the hiring agencies that hire in different areas. When you are applying for state employment, there are so much more. Whenever you are applying for state employment with the Veterans Outreach Program through Central Management Services, veterans can establish their veterans preference. In order to establish your veteran status, these are the veteran status requirements. Military service member in the Army, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, Navy, United States Marine Corps. You can also be in the Illinois National Guard or the United States Military Reserve. You can be a disabled veteran, Purple Heart recipient, an unremarried spouse, a parent of a disabled or a deceased veteran. You can scan this QR code. It will take you straight to our Veterans Outreach Program, and you can send your certified documents there to establish your veterans preference. When you are applying for veterans preference, you have to have a total of 6 months of service, which is equal to 180 days, and have an honorable discharge. Whenever you're applying for veterans preference, this is for external candidates. State employees cannot use veterans preference when they are applying for promotional titles. Next screen. Whenever you are applying for a state employment, you get started right here on our website. This is the very first screen that you would see when you're applying for state employment at work.illinois.gov. Find your next career opportunity with the state of Illinois. When you are an external candidate, right here where circle view profile, you review the profile to get started with applying for state employment. The next screen. Whenever you're applying for state employment, you want to create your account. You create an account by using your personal email address and your password. You would create the account. You would only create the account once. Once you have created the account, it's going to show, just type in your email and your password. If you have never created your account, you would click here to create and to register to create your account. Next. Whenever you're applying for a state employment, you are a state of Illinois employee. All state employees want to apply. Click here to apply with the career portal for state of Illinois employees. You want to use your work email address, and you also want to use your password for state employment. You are applying for state employment. Next. Whenever you are applying for the very first time through SuccessFactors with our online hiring process, you want to register through our Okta registration. If you are trying to apply, sometimes people are trying to apply and it's not going through. If it's not going through, that means that you have not registered through Okta. But once you register through Okta, it's going to let you know that you have already registered, and then you can proceed. If you have not already registered, it will not allow you to proceed. Next. Whenever you are applying, the very first step to apply for state employment is to create the candidate profile. When you create your candidate profile, it's going to ask you for your personal information. It's going to ask you for your work history. Seniority information only applies to current state employees. It's going to ask you to upload relevant documents, your transcripts, certifications, other documents that you want to upload, your resume as well. Then also previously received grade notices. This is only for current state employees who may have a current grade. We still under those grades, therefore you can upload those as well. Next. This is the candidate profile. When you are applying for state employment, this doesn't matter if you're internal or external. Whenever you are applying for a state employment, it's going to ask you for your education. It's going to ask you to list your highest level of education. It can be high school, college, university, or trade school. In this example, being it is a high school. It asks you for your highest level of degree. In this case, it has to be high school diploma. It will ask you to include your major field of study and your minor field of study. Here, it asks you for the status. If you in progress, completed, in this case, the person finished high school, so it's completed. Also, whenever you are completing the candidate profile, it's going to ask you for skills. Right here in the skill level, it may ask you if you have if you speak a foreign language, you indicate foreign language here. In the description, you indicate what type of foreign language you speak. You would indicate if it's Spanish or the foreign language that you speak. Their proficiency is going to ask you if you're fluent. Some people may say they're fluent, beginning, or learning, so you specify their proficiency level. Also, for the skill level, when you have software programs, you indicate that you have experience in software programs. For the description, you'll be very detailed and specified. Software programs in Excel, spreadsheet, software programs in PowerPoint. If you have different types of certifications, you include those, and you include your proficiency. If it's beginners, intermediate, or advanced, you specify that. Also, in the skill level, it'll ask you in reference to your skill level, in reference to if you're in management, you're a middle level manager, or upper level manager, it'll ask you about management skills. So you would indicate those skills there. You'll give a very descriptive detail about those management skills. If you happen to be a project manager, if you happen to be a trainer, So you specify that. Then you will indicate the your proficiency if you're an expert in the field. Next. Current tips for employees. Even though it says current tips for employees who are internal, this also applies to external candidates. When you are applying for a state employment, right here on your candidate profile, it's going to ask you for your work experience with the state of Illinois. If you are a current state employee and you working at an agency, you've been at Central Management Service for 10 years, you have had 3 different job titles. You want to list each job title separately, the time period for each job title, and be very descriptive and very detailed about your job duties. If you have previous work experience, you want to include those past employers as well and be very detailed in reference to those job titles. If you have supervisory experience, you want to specify that. The number of people you supervise in this area right here. Also, this is for internal as well as external veterans. Whenever you are applying for state employment and you go with your previous employment record in the military history, you want to be very detailed about your work history in the military. When you are in the military, you have different ranks. You have go from an E1 to an E8, master sergeant, officers, all of those different ranks. Whenever you indicate the rank on your application, you want to always include that job title next to that rank. And you want to be very detailed about your job duties at each rank, because each of those ranks, they mean different things. Certain ranks have supervisory responsibilities. Some of them have upper level management responsibilities. Therefore, you want to include that. If you supervise staff, if you train staff, if you're responsible for completing evaluations, you want to always include the number of employees who you supervise. You want to be very detailed. Always give the length, the time period, and each rank for each job title when you're in the military. Also, for internal candidates, if you are currently a state employee, you want to include the agency that you're with. Bargaining unit, if you know what your bargaining unit code is, you can include that. If you do not know it, you can indicate no selection. Seniority date, if you know it, include it. If not, we can always get that information. You can include your work location that you're working at right now, the county that you are hired in, and that's the process when you are applying for state employment. Also allows you to upload your resume here. Any here where it says attach documents, any additional information that you want to attach, you may. Veterans, you can upload your veteran documents at this time where it says attach a document. Next. Wherever you are seeking state employment, being you are an external candidate, when you go through the external portal for veterans, you can search by keyword, agency, job function, city, or zip code. Once you're right here on this website, it's going to say search by keyword. So for example, if you want to apply for a veteran service officer, you can type in the veteran service officer. If you just type in veteran, if it's a current posting, it's going to bring up all of those job titles for that job title. Also, if you decide that you want to search by agency to narrow it down, know that Department of Veterans Affairs as well as Department of Employment Security are the hiring agencies that hire the veteran service officer. So you could just narrow your search down to just those 2 agencies. Also, whenever you are doing your search, you can go and do job function. So if you know you're interested and being a veteran service officer, you can indicate social services, and that'll also pop up where those jobs are located as well. Also, when you are applying for state employment, here, this is very important. You right here at the job posting. For all other job posting that you go to, it's going to always inform you what agency is posting the job posting. In this example, it happens to be the state retirement system. It will always give you a closing date. The closing date happens to be October 23rd, 2023. Some postings will give you a closing time. If it doesn't indicate a closing time, it means that the job posting closes 11:59 p.m. on that day. It will also give you the salary range. Let you know the job type, if it's salary, a full-time or part-time. It will inform you of the county that the job is located in. This happens to be Sangamon. It will inform you of your number of vacancies. This happens to be 2 job vacancies. It will inform you if this position is in the bargaining unit, which is a position in the union, or you may also see MC, meaning that is a non-union job posting. Whenever you are applying for a job posting, the most important information, all of this is important, but this is the most important information on this job posting. It's the posting identification number. It's going to be a 5-digit number. It's also referred to as the requisition number. You want to always remember to know what that job posting number is whenever you want to refer back to that job posting. And on each job posting is going to provide you with the position title, the job function, the requirements for each job title. And whenever you are looking at the job posting, write yourself a note to make a copy of the job posting so that you can refer back to the job posting. You happen to get selected for a job interview, you already have the job posting and be able to refer back to that information. Next. Also, whenever you're applying for state employment, even as an internal portal for internal candidates, the process is the same. You just will go to the career portal and do your search for the different jobs. Next. This is very important here. Once you have created your candidate profile, you typed in your username and your password, and you have went and saw the job posting that you're interested in, it's going to ask you a series of questions. It's going to ask you if you are a veteran. You want to answer yes, that you are a veteran. If you happen to apply for a job posting and it asks you the question if you are a veteran, and if you answer no, that you're not a veteran, for that job posting, you will not be able to be considered as a veteran. You could have already established your veteran's preference. You could have already have your points. But if you indicate no instead of yes, you cannot be considered as a veteran for that job posting. Also, whenever you are applying for state employment, you want to be very detailed on your questions. It's going to ask you the question, it's going to ask you several questions. It's going to ask you in reference to state employment, your number of years of school. So this asks you how many years have you completed. You want to indicate if it's 4 years of college. Also, it's going to ask you what is your highest level of education. You want to specify that. It's going to always ask you the question as well. It depends on each job posting. They vary. I always tell applicants this is very critical. You want to be pay very close attention to the questions and how they ask you the question for each of the job titles. It'll ask you the question if you if you completed high school. It's going to give you the choice of saying yes or no. And then when you answer yes, you have completed high school. The question 2 is going to ask you more detail. Where did you go to high school at? Where did you complete high school? It's going to ask you that question. Then this is a reference to a clerical office title. It's going to ask you that this job title requires, it's going to ask you that this job title requires 1 year experience. It's going to ask you, do you possess the 1 year of office experience? And then you can say yes or no. And then if you say yes, you have the 1 year office experience, it's going to ask you to go into detail with further instructions to explain where did you earn that 1 year of work experience. For example, if you worked at company Y, you specify that I earned the 1 year experience at company Y. But say you worked at company Y, X, and Z, and you have 14 years experience. You want to specify, go to specify at each company. At company X, I have 4 years experience. At company Y, I have 4 years experience. At company Z, I have 2 years. You want to specify that and specify what kind of office experience you have. Does office experience include scanning, making copies? Does it include typing? Does it include answering the telephones? You want to be very detailed and very descriptive about your office experience. Whenever you are applying for state employment, it's going to just ask you a lot of detailed questions. And some of this space is very limited. It may tell you that you only have 2,000 characters. So therefore, it's going to only allow you to fill in that space. But this is enough information. Just fill in the most important information that they're asking you when you are applying for state employment. The bottom line is just to be very detailed, very descriptive about your work experiences, about your educational background. You just want to be very detailed. That's the key. You want to be very detailed on your answers, because these questions right here is how you're going to receive your application score. And we grade you based on how you answer these questions. This determines whether or not you go to the next level to get what we call validated in order to receive a grade. This also determines whether or not you are going to be selected for that job interview. Whenever you're answering the questions and you're not quite sure if you need more time to answer the questions, you can always go back and skip a question and come back to it. If you may decide, okay, this job, I decided I don't want to apply for it. You can always cancel it. If you need more time to think about your answers, you can save your application under your candidate profile. You can go back to under your candidate profile to answer those questions, but make sure that you complete that application before that job posting closes. Now, if you go through and you answer all these questions and you are happy with your answers and you feel confident that you have answered everything very thoroughly and answer all the questions, you can submit, you can hit apply, and that will submit your application. And when you submit your application, you will receive an email back from Central Management Services or the hiring agency indicating that they have received your application. Whenever you are applying for state employment, as I mentioned earlier, when you're applying for state employment, a lot of our job titles do not require testing. So this is going to be your application here. This is going to be how we grade your application. A lot of them are non-testing. Some job titles do not require a job interview. Just based on how you answer this question, the hiring agency can determine whether or not they want to just offer that job to you. Whenever you are applying for state employment, you want to be very detailed in how you answer these questions, because this is going to be that score that determines if you're going to proceed to the job interview, if the job requires a job interview, or if the job doesn't require a job interview, if the hiring agency is going to select you and make you a job offer just based on how you answer these questions right here. There are a few jobs that do not, that is require testing, and those job titles that require a test, Central Management Services will send you an email informing you when the test is scheduled, and they will provide instructions for you to schedule your appointment to come and take that exam. Next. Whenever you are applying for state employment, say you go to the job screen, the website, you don't see anything that you want to apply for. You can set up job alerts for the job title that you are interested in. You go under your options, select job alerts, and you can type in that job title that you're interested in. For example, you go to the website and you're interested in the Veteran Service Officer and you do not see the job posted. You can set up a job alert. You can type in the Veteran Service Officer job title. You can indicate that you wanted to alert you every 5 days, every 7 days. And then once you choose the time period for 7 days or 5 days, whenever that job is posted, you will receive an email indicating that the job is now posted. And if you're interested, you can now apply for it. And you can also go on your profile and to see that you have set up that job alert. And that's for internal as well as external applicants. Next. Whenever you are applying for state employment, once you go on your candidate profile, you can check your application status. When you check your application status, you go on the jobs applied. Jobs applied is going to let you know how many jobs you have applied for. In this example, the applicant has applied for 2 jobs here. In here, this is the Chief Learning Officer, the Senior Public Service Administrator, option 1. It indicates requisition closed and the date that it closed, 1/19/2023. The second example here, this is the Assistant Hiring Resources and Outreach Division Manager. This is the Public Service Administrator, option 1. Here you see where it says offer accepted. So that means that the applicant who was offered the position has accepted that job offer, and the job has been accepted by that by the applicant who was the most qualified. And so therefore, it gives you the status for each one. Also, I highly encourage you, whenever you apply for state employment, go to your candidate profile, go on the jobs applied to check the status of each job that you have applied for. When you are applying for state employment and the job does not require a job interview, you just apply for the job and you submitted your application, and you will receive an email from the hiring agency telling you to go to the candidate profile and to click here if you want to accept that job offer. Right here is going to tell you to click here to accept that job offer. If you happen to get an email invite you in for a job interview, this same website under your candidate profile, you will go here. It's going to tell you click here to schedule a job interview. Right here on the candidate profile on the jobs applied, you want to always go here to check the status of each jobs that you have applied for. It's critical because when you're applying for state employment and you have been offered a job, it's going to only give you a certain time period to respond. And if you respond after that time period, it's going to indicate that the applicant did not accept the job offer. And it's going to specify that there. Also, the same thing. If you go to the website and you have not clicked here to schedule that job interview, it's going to specify that the applicant declined that job interview. So you want to make sure that you go in and check your emails. Sometimes you get your emails through junk mail, you get your emails through spam. You want to always check that because some applicants call and say, I missed the job interview. But because we send you the email and you didn't respond to it, we have to specify that you didn't respond to it and you declined the job offer or you declined that job interview. So be very mindful to check your email. Next. Whenever you are applying for state employment, these are the processes that you will go through when you're applying for state employment. Career counseling and resources. Sometimes you have no idea of what you want to apply for. You have no idea of what your work experiences applies to certain job titles. So therefore, you can request counseling by email with our counselors, and we will match up your job titles along with your work experiences, your education, and your skills. And you can also request a counseling session via email or virtual counseling. And you will submit a copy of your current resume. At this time, we are not doing in-person counseling. You can submit your resume to cms.counseling by email at illinois.gov. Also, we have the Successful Disability Program for those applicants who need reasonable accommodation. You can contact the CMS Disability Resource Center by email at cms.disabilityresourcecenter@illinois.gov. We have the Veterans Outreach Program through Central Management Services. Under Illinois law, qualified veterans are entitled to points added to passing grades and may receive appointment preferences. Questions regarding establishing your veteran status or your veteran preference can be directed to Veterans Outreach by email at illinois.gov. Next. Whenever you are applying for state employment and you are now a state employee, we offer a lot of benefits with the state of Illinois. As you see in health, we offer your health insurance, vision coverage, and dental coverage. So that coverage takes effect the first day of employment. Also, we offer like flexible spending accounts. And whenever you are applying for state employment, we offer work-life integration. That's one of the benefits. We have a 37.5-hour work week. We offer overtime depending on the hiring agency and the need for overtime, as well as earned equivalent time. We offer paid vacation holidays. We have 13 to 14. We have 13 to 14 holidays per year, 25 paid days off the first year of employment. We also offer a flexible work schedule. Then we offer flexible work schedule. I know a lot of people have this question about remote work. Remote work depends on the hiring agency. The hiring agency makes that decision about remote work. Here in the case, we have the 10 weeks of paid paternal leave that has been increased to 12 weeks now. So we now have the 12 weeks of paid parental leave. also the financial wellness. We have life insurance. We have deferred compensation plan. We have the retirement and pension with the survival benefits. Also, as a state employee, we have bilingual skill pay. If you happen to get hired, you apply for bilingual positions such as Spanish speaking. We offer additional pay to speak that language as well. We have professional development, career progression opportunities. With the state of Illinois, you can advance your opportunities with the state of Illinois. We have the upper mobility program. That is a way to promote and to specify targeted titles, and you can promote to promotional opportunities with the state of Illinois. We have paid educational and training opportunities. We have the CMS University. We have the Veterans Outreach Program. We have programs for workers with disabilities. We have what we call the Disability Workers Training Program. A part of this program, if you are in this program, we have a training program, and you can go to the website and you will see those job titles when they are posted on the website, and you can apply for those job titles. And they are designed specifically for this program, for the Successful Disability Program. We also have the Successful Disability Program, as well as the Alternative Employment Program. And that program is for current state employees only. Next. Whenever you're applying for state employment, we have a lot of My Benefits Plus. We offer pet insurance. Anyone who have pets, you can enroll in the pet insurance. They provide you with exceptional savings on your veterinarian bills when you're taking your vet for checkups. And also, it provides you 24/7 vet helpline. You have a choice of different plans that are available. Next. With the My Benefits Plus, can you go back to the prior screen? This is purchase financing. This is where all of those people who love to shop, the shopping lovers, we have thousands of brand names products. We have appliances. We have computers, furniture. You can go and shop for all of these different appliances, all of these different brand name products at a discount. You get a discount on these items through My Benefits Plus by being a state of Illinois employee. It does require any down payment, no credit check. You can pay using your payroll deduction. Next. Also, with My Benefits Plus, with the auto and home insurance, you can enroll in those insurance programs, but you can get multi policy discounts, special savings. Coverage can begin the very next day. You have the 24/7 claims reporting, portable plans, and you can switch anytime. If you happen to choose one carrier and you're not happy with that carrier, you can switch to a new one. Next. Also, in My Benefits Plus, we offer critical illness insurance. You gain the power to make treatment decisions without putting your finances at risk. And also on this critical illness insurance, you also may enroll your dependents as well. They also have that coverage that's also available. You have a choice of the plans that are available. And it does cover hospital stays also. Next. This is hospital insurance. This is like this will provide you with additional coverage when you are applying for that insurance in reference to annual health screening benefits. It also allow you to enroll dependent coverage is available. You have the different plan level options. You have the use benefits for any expenses, the portable plan. And next, we have legal services. Through My Benefits, you can enroll in the different legal services where if you need extra guidance in reference to certain issues that may occur, you can seek expert attorneys in all the fields. You can receive family law coverage. You can have national network of attorneys, real estate transactions coverage, financial and consumer coverage, auto and traffic coverage. Next. Here for My Benefits Plus, it also offers identity theft protection. You can enroll in this program in order to have the assurance that your identity is protected. You will get credit alerts, credit reporting, social media reputation monitoring. You can also enroll in the identity theft insurance policy, and you can enroll in this anytime available for this right here. The other My Benefit Plus that I emphasize, you enroll in those during our benefits choice period that is between May 1st through May 31st. And to find out more of your current state employee, to find out more about how these benefits work, My Benefits Plus, you can go to mybenefits@illinois.gov to find out more about these benefits. Next. Now, any questions about anything that has been discussed?
Hey, Pam, we did receive a question in the chat asking if it would be okay to share the slide deck. Totally up to you. I'm not sure what CMS's policy is on that.
I have to check with management.
Okay.
In reference
Understood.
to that question.
Okay. Thank you for that, Pam.
Of course, and you're welcome.
And
stop sharing, okay.
Yeah. Yep. And with that, we'll go ahead and pivot to our breakout rooms portion of the event. Of course, this is where you will have a chance to ask any questions that you have of the state agency reps that we currently have on the line today. Before we delve into that, we're just going to go over a few informational slides so that you're comfortable navigating the breakout rooms, familiarizing yourself with the process, so on and so forth. The first thing that we always like to mention for these breakout room sessions is that you want to make sure that you have the most recent version of Zoom Client for Meetings downloaded. When you signed in today, Zoom probably automatically prompted any updates that needed to take place to you. So ideally, of course, yeah, those updates should already be in place. But if you're finding that you're having any issues joining rooms, moving between rooms, using any of the different breakout rooms functionalities that are offered, it could be that you are running an outdated version of the Zoom Client for Meetings. If for whatever reason you need to hop off to check to see if you have that updated or most updated version, excuse me, you can do so at zoom.us/download. Again, if you have to hop off the session to do that, if you're having troubles, no worries. I'll be monitoring the waiting room to make sure that you're let back in. The next slide here is pretty important, so please be sure to pay attention. You'll see a few screenshots on your screen. The first one there is of the Zoom toolbar. You'll want to make note of that button that you see outlined in red there that says breakout rooms. When we open up the rooms for you to join, that icon will be in your toolbar. So to go ahead and join a room, you're going to want to click that icon, and then you'll see the second screenshot that we have there is a window of all of the breakout rooms that we currently have open and available for you to join. As you see with that red circle here, to join a room, you'll just hover over the agency that is of interest to you, or agencies in this case, and you'll click join. Now, to be able to move between rooms, you'll just replicate that process. So again, you'll go to your Zoom toolbar, you'll click breakout rooms, it'll open that window again, then you'll click join for the next agency that you'd like to meet with, so on and so forth. I will put these instructions back on screen, before we kick the session off. Just a quick overview to familiarize you with what the flow is going to look like. So we do have obviously agency reps that are assigned to their specific breakout rooms here today. We will have a member from the IDES planning team that will be in the room for basic troubleshooting as well. For your information, we will be running about a 60-minute session. That will be continuous. We won't be taking a break or anything like that. It'll just be one continuous 60-minute session. When we open these up, you will be allowed to move freely between the rooms. You'll be able to unmute yourselves once you've entered the breakout room, turn your cameras on, etc. And the last slide here before we open these up, just a few ground rules we always like to mention. Again, be mindful of the amount of time that you're taking in the room, especially if there's other job seekers in there with you. Once you've asked your question, received your response, just make sure to mute yourself to allow other job seekers to have that same opportunity. You are more than welcome, again, to share your video and camera. Just make sure to keep things respectful and professional, and we should have no issues. If for whatever reason you do not abide by those rules and opt to be disruptive or inconsiderate, you will receive a verbal warning by partner staff that we will have in the room. If for whatever reason you disregard that warning, you will be permanently placed on mute. And our last point before we open these up here, if you are muted, you will still be allowed to stay in the session and ask questions. The only thing or caveat here, I guess, to keep in mind is that the employer rep will only be able to respond to you as time permits. If you cause further disruption through the chat, we will have the ability to eject you from the session if need be. If that does happen, you will not be permitted re-entry. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to our instructional slide here. A couple things that I want to mention before we open these up is that if for whatever reason you are experiencing difficulties moving between the rooms, you run that Zoom client for meetings, download, update, and you're still having issues, I can manually assign you to a breakout room of your choosing. All you'll want to do is go ahead and message me in the chat. Let me know which room you'd like to go to, and I'll be sure to get you sent to that room. Again, we'll have 60 minutes set aside for the session. You'll see a countdown timer in the upper right-hand portion of your screen when you enter the breakout room. That'll let you know how many minutes, we have left back in the session. And then there will be a 60-second countdown timer as well that we'll have set for these breakout rooms. So essentially what that means is once you reach that 60th minute, there'll be a countdown timer that'll flash on screen. It'll let you know that the rooms are about to close in a minute. That's just your cue. If you're in the middle of a presentation or middle of a conversation, that it's time to wrap things up because the rooms are going to close in approximately 1 minute. Now, the last thing that we want to note here is that once those rooms close, we're going to come back into the main session, which we are in now, and we're going to give a brief closing statement, let you guys know what next steps are, what to expect from us as far as deliverables, so on and so forth. So please do plan to stick around for just another minute or two once the sessions close. Now with that, I'm going to go ahead real quick and name off all the agencies we have here on the line. I'm also going to place those in the chat for you to be able to reference too. So today we have the Department of Human Services on the line, the Department of Innovation and Technology, the Department of Healthcare and Family Services, Illinois State Police, IEMA, or the Emergency Management Agency. We have the Department of Children and Family Services on the line, the Department of Transportation, Illinois Tollway, the Department of Rehabilitative Services, the Department of Revenue, Natural Resources, Veterans Affairs, the Illinois Gaming Board, Central Management Services, and last but not least, the Department of Corrections. So lots of great agencies on the line today, lots of awesome opportunities for you to be able to explore. We do highly encourage you to go to multiple rooms if there's any sort of interest in working for the agencies that we, of course, just listed off here for you today. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and open up these rooms now. And again, if you have any issues joining, just message me in the chat and I'll get you sent to the room of your choosing. All right, those rooms should be open and ready for you to join.
Daniel, this is Walter. I joined late. I guess I need you to assign me to a breakout room.
Yeah, give me one moment here, Walter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to then assign you to the Department of Corrections because we do not have a IDES rep in that room yet.
Okay.
All right, just sent that over to you. You'll want to be sure to accept that invite.
Just hit join, right? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Daniel? Hello, Daniel.
Yes.
The Do It team, Jason, he can't share his screen.
Okay, let me see the sharing options here.
Okay. I'll go back in the room.
All right. We should be good now. I set it to all participants who can share.
Now I got to get back in the breakout room. Let's see here. Here it is.
You got it?
Yep, got it.
Hello, Daniel.
Yes.
Yes, I'm in search of the what the breakout sessions.
Yes. Do you know
Do I
what
need to go?
room that you'd like? Yeah, do you know which room you'd like to go to?
Illinois Department of Human Services first.
All right, fantastic. So I'll get you sent there, and whenever you're ready to go to the next room, just come back and let me know the next one you'd like to go to, and I'll send you there. Okay?
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And you said human services?
Yes, Human Services. Yes.
Oh. All right, sending you there now. Just make sure to click the join prompt when you see it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Hello, Josh.
Hey, Theodore, you're back in the main room, just an FYI.
I see Josh is there. I didn't know if he or Reggie or needed anything.
I'm taking a look.
And I see Michael P. I think you and I are emailing. I just need to know what you're put in the email, your specific concern or need, so I can get it to the right staff member for you.
Theodore, I've emailed my response.
Okay, very good. I'll respond back to that
Thank you.
in a few minutes. And for those who are not in a room right now, I just learned from Department of Revenue, they're going to look at a direct hire opportunity beginning in January, I believe. So if anybody's interested, the positions are going to be in Springfield. I don't want to take Johnny's thunder. Go over to the Department of Revenue room. A lot of good information about opportunities and for direct placement and career advancement with the Department of Revenue. They're coming up very quickly in Springfield.
33.
There you go.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the main session. Looks like we've just got a few stragglers, if you will, that are still kind of trickling in here. Awesome. Okay, I think we've got everybody back in the main room here. A few things that we want to go ahead and cover here today before we close out the session. Again, as we covered earlier, the session has been recorded and it will be shared with both the state agencies that presented here today, and the job seekers that are on the line. If you are curious as to where you can find the video for today's session, you can find it on the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel. So what you'll do is just go to YouTube, type in Illinois WorkNet. When you navigate to the channel, you'll see a virtual job fairs playlist off to the left-hand side, and you'll see a complete list of all the recordings we have available, obviously including this one. Additionally, the information that you used to register to join today's event was also obviously captured on the back end. We'll be forwarding all that information on to all of the state agency partners that participated today, and of course the organizers over at IDES to review as well. Aside from that, I want to go ahead and thank the presenters who carved out time out of their schedules, to join us today and present. And then, of course, last but not least, also want to thank the veterans and other attendees that joined today as well to make the event a success. Theodore or anybody at IDES, any other remarks that you want to make before we close out the session?
Joining you, Daniel, and thanking all the state agencies who came out, all the IDS staff, and in particular, all of our participants who came to learn about opportunities to connect with agencies within the state of Illinois. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.
Hey, can we get the link for the YouTube site?
Yeah.